I'm bringing these onions in out of the garden now. It's early November and they don't look like they're going to dry out very well outside, so I'll bring them in, see if I can dry them out. They've already been frozen a bit, so onions can be damaged by a hard frost. Yeah, the snow's starting to melt, but from our first snowfall. But it's a good time to get these garlic planted. I had 5 garlic that I bought from a local grower, and I'm just planting them here over winter. They'll survive and come up in the spring. I've also put a lot of compost in this area for them. If the ground's hard underneath, I just like to dig it up a little bit, loosen it up. There, now I'll just cover them all over. Just collect the remainder of these sets that I planted late, I believe sometime in mid-June, I'm not sure. These, because the garden was wet, and these are my seed onions. Now my seed onions usually mature quite well, but I get them into the ground early in May, so I plant the seeds in March. But this year everything again was late, and normally by this time you can have the onions cured and dried out in the sun. But this doesn't happen that way every year, apparently. I might have been able to harvest some of these seed parsleys, but I think I'll prefer to just keep the greens on them and let the nutrients from the greens go back down into the roots for the winter. That'll probably give them a better chance next year for seeding. I'll just cover these over with straw. Salsify, that should survive without any covering, but it looks like this milk thistle is at least giving it some insulation. I don't have to put straw over these, they should come up fine next year for seed. I split open one of the pods of this broccoli seeded plant, and it looks like there might be some seeds in there, so I'll take some of these and see if I can use them for next year, but I'll more likely get one of my favorite varieties for next year and buy new seed. The Brussels sprouts, they're still trying. I think this one's got a little bit of meat. Not doing that well this year, so they should also get in as early as possible in the year. Early May is fine up in this area. I seed all of my brassica indoors in March. I might as well take these few carrots out of the garden before the ground freezes hard, which will be soon. I used as much straw as I had to cover up the parsley that I'm leaving in for seed next year. Then I just had to improvise, and I got some of the chamomile plants that were nearby and threw them on top and around the sides. And the Swiss chard is playing its role. I'm not big on Swiss chard really, but maybe it's going to be useful this year. And I've got just a small sheet or something here that I can throw over top. Probably if it was more straw, the straw would be the best thing to use, just straw. The tomato cages came in handy just to put over top. They're light and they'll probably keep this sheet on fairly well. The smaller parsley plants that I planted later on in the year, I'm putting them in this planter. I'll fill it up with some soil and see if I can have some greens enough to make this worthwhile this winter. I'd like to start producing my own seeding soil, and next year I might start first by giving myself a bench outside. I potted this kale plant, but I think I'll leave all of the other plants in the garden because apparently they can overwinter. I did try overwintering them before without covering them, but it's probably easier if I can just cover them up and overwinter them in the garden. I was going to cover this comfrey over with some black plastic, but I'll have to leave these plants in this year, and I'll get as many of the comfrey covered with black plastic as I can to remove it from the garden area. I have completed my cold storage area well enough anyway. For now, I might need some more taping, but the cold stays in, and I got the beets and carrots in that container. There's potatoes, and I've got my cabbage plants, and there'll be cold air coming out of that hose from outside.